To pass an English exam, you can't just walk in without being prepared. And to do really well in the writing part, you can't simply use basic vocabulary like I think, and, however. We need to use more impressive advanced phrases. Today, I'm going to show you how to automatically level up your writing, more specifically your essays, by teaching you 10 really impressive advanced essay phrases. And for those of you who don't know me, hi. I'm Izzy from English with Izzy. I'm your B2 First, C1 Advanced, and Advanced English teacher. And today we're going to be looking at advanced phrases that are automatically going to elevate your writing for your exam. They're going to automatically make your text more organized. They're going to help you get more vocabulary marks in your exam. And if you stay until the very end, I'm going to give you a big PDF with all of these phrases, plus lots of examples for free. So if you're a good student, you can keep practicing this outside of class today. Anyway, let's dive right in. So let's start with essay phrase number 1. Well, I'm actually going to give you 2 so we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And it's the phrases nowadays and in this day and age. These 2 are perfect for the introduction of your essay, because one of the things I teach in my writing guide and in my complete exam preparation course is that in your introduction, when writing an essay, it's a really good idea to start with a fact, some kind of statistic or a statement. And by saying in this day and age, we're laying the foundation for a perfect sentence which is going to give the examiner some background information on the topic before you go into more detail in your next few paragraphs. So the first sentence on an essay of climate change, for example, could be, in this day and age, climate change poses a significant threat to our planet's ecosystems. Another example is, nowadays, the frequency of extreme weather events serves as a clear indicator of the impact of climate change in our environment. So again, it's a great way to give background information on the topic before writing more specific information in your main paragraphs. The second phrase we're going to look at is, X is a growing issue in today's society. Again, this can also be used in the introduction. However, you could also use it in your main paragraphs if you want to emphasize that the particular point you're talking about is a real problem, which is why we're dedicating time to writing about it in our essay, right? So let's look at an example. Deforestation is a growing issue in today's society, contributing to the loss of biodiversity and worsening the effects of climate change. Another example is carbon emissions from human activities, particularly from the burning of fossil fuels, are a growing issue in today's society. Now, this phrase essentially means this thing, so where the X is, you'd put a noun, is becoming more and more of a problem in our world today. So pop it in your introduction, write a generic phrase about the topic you're going to write about, and then we can go into more detail in our next paragraphs. Now, the third phrase we're going to look at, which is a great alternative for the common verb, I think, is personally speaking. Now, because in your essay, you're going to have to give personal opinions throughout, maybe in your main paragraphs, you might even add a final opinion in the conclusion. This is just another way of expressing your ideas with slightly more advanced vocabulary. So in one of your main paragraphs, for example, you could say, personally speaking, individuals must adopt sustainable practices in their daily lives to decrease the effects of climate change. Another great example is, addressing climate change requires a collective or a group effort. And personally speaking, every citizen has a role to play in promoting environmental responsibility. This would be a great introduction, for example, if you're then going on to explain different ways or talk about different ways that people can reduce their impact on the environment. Now, the fourth phrase we're going to look at today is a fancy or an advanced way of saying it's obvious that. And the phrase is, it goes without saying that. For example, it goes without saying that the rise in global temperatures is closely linked to human activities, such as industrialization and deforestation. This would be a great first sentence in one of your main paragraphs. If you're then going to explain, for example, what we can do to decrease those negative effects, right? Or if you want to go into more detail as to what specifically humans are doing to contribute to global warming, because this is quite a generic sentence. Phrase number 5 is it is widely believed that, which is an advanced way of saying everyone thinks or everyone believes that. So again, you could use this in your introduction or in your main paragraphs if we're adding a new point or adding some more information, right? So let's look at this example. It's widely believed that reducing our dependence on non-renewable energy is crucial for reducing the impact of climate change. Or among scientists, it's widely believed that the melting of the polar ice caps is a direct consequence of global warming. So again, we can replace our common verb with people think or everybody thinks, but with this impressive advanced writing phrase. Now, instead of using an everyday phrase like for example, you could opt for the alternative, a clear example of this is. For example, the decline in snow cover in mountainous regions is a clear example of how climate change is affecting ecosystems worldwide. Or the growing number of microplastics found in fish is a clear example of our overconsumption and overuse of single-use plastic worldwide. Phrase number 7 is an alternative way of saying not many people disagree with this, or almost everyone believes this. And the phrase is, few people would dispute the fact that. So for example, few people would dispute the fact that adopting sustainable agricultural practices is essential for ensuring food security in the face of climate change. Few people would dispute the fact that, meaning almost everyone agrees that, few people would dispute the fact that eliminating the production of single-use plastics would be hugely beneficial to sea life worldwide. We're going to look at some examples which are prime, which are ideal, which are super sexy in essay conclusions. And the final 3 phrases we're going to look at indicate that we have analyzed or we have compared the options that we talked about in our essay, and now we're going to be providing a final opinion. And the first one is, the benefits of this far outweigh the disadvantages. So this is a perfect phrase to use when you're talking about the advantages and disadvantages of something, and you're trying to say, hey, I've looked at both sides, but there are clearly more good things than bad things. So let's look at this first example. The benefits of using renewable energy far outweigh the disadvantages, meaning it has many more good points than it does bad points. Or the benefits of using public transport far outweigh the disadvantages in terms of reducing air pollution, for example. The 9th phrase we're going to look at is essentially a synonym for to sum up, but again, we're looking at a more formal and a more advanced alternative. And the 9th phrase is taking all of this into consideration. This is a beautiful phrase right before you're going to write your final or your main opinion in your conclusion. So you've talked about different points in your essay, and now you're saying, well, I thought about all sides of the argument, and taking all of this into consideration, here is what I think. So taking all of this into consideration, it's evident that an international or a global approach is fundamental if we want to make real changes to the environment. Or when taking all of this into consideration, it's clear that sustainable urban planning is essential if we want to reduce the carbon footprint of growing cities. And last but not least, in our conclusion, if we're showing the examiner, hey, this is my final opinion, this is clearly the correct answer, or this is the answer that I have argued throughout my essay, you can say X is undeniably the preferred option. So instead of saying, I think this is the best, we can use this advanced alternative. For example, transitioning to renewable energy is undeniably the preferred option. Eliminating single-use plastics is undeniably the preferred option. Now, we would say this, of course, if we have discussed various options in our essay, and the essay title says something like, which of these ones is the best? And you've talked about lots. And then in the end, this one is undeniably the preferred one. Anyway, guys, it's time to bring this video to an end. I hope you've enjoyed it, and don't forget to download this PDF I made you, which contains all of the phrases I taught you today, plus a whole selection of B2 First and C1 Advanced essay phrases that you can use. And I'm going to leave the link down below here in the description box. And if you're hungry for more, if you're simply not feeling confident about your writing skills or about the writing part of the exam, then you might want to check out my complete B2 First and C1 Advanced writing guides, where they're essentially a step-by-step guide as to how to do every single writing task. So we cover essays, we cover reviews, we cover formal and informal emails, we cover letters, we cover proposals if you're going to take the C1 exam, as well as lots of model answers written by me, answers written by my students which I have corrected, an explanation of how your writings are marked, vocabulary lists, and even more. All of the phrases that I used in this video today are taken directly from my writing guide, so if you learned something today, then you're going to learn even more from this PDF. Plus, if you buy the guide and you decide it's not really what I was looking for, then I've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, because that's how sure I am that you're going to see a transformation in your writing. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, to subscribe so we can help shoot up this video to other students who are planning to take an exam. Send it to a friend, send it to your grandma, send it to your neighbor if you have a good relationship with them, I don't know. Last but not least, I'm going to leave the big subscribe button here if you want to follow me and keep learning English with me, and I'm going to leave some more videos here that you might find particularly useful. Anyway, that's it for today. Stay curious, stay learning. Ugh.